Item number 2 on your agenda is the approval of the agenda. Is there any additions, deletions? If not, I'll look for a motion to approve as presented. Go ahead, Councillor. Okay, moved by Councillor Cushing. Do we have a seconder? Seconded by Gerard. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Contrary minded, motion carried. Please excuse me a minute, councillors, while I get my computer up, and I don't know why, but it always shuts off from... Item number 3 is a declaration of any conflict of interest. Does any councillor have any conflict? Go ahead, Deputy Warden.
Yes, Mr. Chair, I declare a conflict in item number 7.9.
Okay.
Letter of thanks, Reed Drought, where I own my own business that handed out water.
Okay. Thank you. Anybody else? Hearing none, we'll move on to item number 4, the approval of the minutes. You have that in your package from September 12th, Committee of the Whole, September 12th in camera, September 19th. I did say that, September 12th? Yes. September 19th, regular council meeting, September 19th, the in camera, and September 27th, special council meeting. What is the wishes of council?
Excuse me, Mr. Warden.
Yes.
4.2 and 4.5 are not available this evening.
Okay. What is the wishes of council? I'm looking for a motion to approve. Okay, I'm sorry. Go ahead, council.
To approve the minutes of September the 12th, 2018. September the 12th. September the 12th, 2018 Committee of the Whole meeting minutes. September the 12th, 2018 public transcript minutes. September the 19th, 2018 regular council meeting minutes. September the 19th, 2018 public transcript minutes. September the 27th, 2018 special council meeting minutes.
Been moved by Councillor LeBlanc. Do we have a seconder for that motion? Been seconded by Councillor Cushing. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Contrary minded, motion carried. Thank you. Item number 5, Warden's remarks. I hope you all have a cup of coffee in front of you. I sat down the last couple of days and went through my month of October and what's happened in the municipality in the month of October. And in our meeting earlier this evening, I got thinking, I don't think my fellow councillors want to listen to everything that I have done. When I go through it, I ended up with 5 pages. I heard that. I ended up with 5 pages, and I thought to myself, well, I guess I've been busy. So I am going to start. I will delete some of the items as I come to them, but this is my report. October, we seen one of the first things in October we noticed was a change in our weather. It was cooler in the mornings, cooler in the evenings, and still pretty fine in the afternoon. But one of the best things that happened so far in the month of October is we've had a nice deluge of rain, which has been very important for those that's had a water issue with their wells and so on this past summer. And myself talking with a lot of the residents that I've known that have had issues, their wells have come up. And that's been a godsend in respect coming into the winter months and so on, and kids back at school. It's been a blessing for those people and so on. So in saying that, and I know there is a letter or an item in here later on this evening to look at some things, but I just wanted to thank the many businesses that supported the drought issue and so on, and that gave up their time and their facility to help the municipality and the province of Nova Scotia to pass out water and so on. And I'm going to name them. And at Dayton Red and White, Carleton County Outfitters, the Carleton Fire Department were also involved in that. Tam's Convenience Store in Arcadia, the Arc, and at the Arcadia School location, they had a source to be able to get water there. The Mariner Center, which gave out a lot of gallonage in water in the 200-gallon tubs, and so on. People came there. And but most important was to the people that picked up the water at the Mariner Center and delivered it or took it to friends and to people that were in need, and so on. So on behalf of the municipality, just verbally from the warden's report, thank you very much to those people and to those businesses for their ongoing support. Just a couple of things I want to touch on what I have done in this month. The 1st of October, I had meetings in Halifax with regional chairs, which, as you all know, deal with recyclables and solid waste for all of Nova Scotia. I was able to tag into a very important safety meetings put on by SWANA, which is the Solid Waste Association of North America. And some people may have asked, like, why would you want to go to a safety course pertaining to solid waste and so on? It was an eye-opener experience for me as an individual to fully understand what the workers face in the solid waste industry, whether it's at a MRF, which is a material recycling facility, and or at a second-generation landfill site. The materials that some of these people have to work around and so on can be very dangerous breathing. One of the most important things that I did learn there was on the hearing protection side. I didn't realize it is the continuous hum of the motors and so on that can destroy your hearing, not on day 1 or day 2, but over an extended period of time. And they showed us all kinds of different ear protection and so on. And what really surprised me more than anything else, we've all seen them and so on, and we've seen many different types, the ear muffs and so on, but the best ear protection that you can get for that kind of situation is them little sponge ones that you kind of roll up and put in your ears, and they stick in your ears. People don't like them, but they are the best ear protection that you can have in a situation where there's a continuous humming of motors and so on, and or equipment. So that and breathing apparatus and just safety shoes, the whole 9 yards. It was a very interesting 2-day experience for myself. I had an experience on October 8th. I met with the CAO to go over the meeting for Wednesday, or committee of the whole meeting, to prepare for Wednesday's meeting, but unfortunately, I wasn't able to attend that meeting, and the deputy warden was wise. He came in, I believe, on Tuesday and done a review of the meeting and so on. So I thank him for handling that meeting for me. Some of the projects that we're working on right at this moment for the municipality is the Arcadia sidewalk. I see that was started here the other day, and that's progressing very well. The Firshu light station, we were just discussing that earlier this evening. The Hebron Business Park, we're doing some, going to be very shortly doing some work out there. And the Webcom renovations that's happening at Webcom, and they're all moving forward very well, which is a nice thing for this time of year. October 10th is a sitting board member of Divert Nova Scotia. And because I sit on that board, I have the opportunity to sit on the executive committee of Divert. And I had a teleconferencing call late that afternoon on the 10th. And it was to discuss a project that Divert and an organization is looking at within Nova Scotia. And if this comes to premonition in about, I think it's 3 years' time, that'll be a great benefit to every one of the residents of Nova Scotia, and it involves used tires. It's a new product, a new thing that can be done with used tires. So I thought that was kind of interesting, but there again, it's going to be a 3-year project before it can be put on, you know, if it can move forward or not. As we all know, October 12th and 13th, the council met for full days. That was a Friday and a Saturday to look at our action plan for the municipality for the next coming years. October 15th is we had a conference call with the CAO, Councillor Durkee, Derek Sutherland, and myself, and Zach Churchill, the MLA for this area. Jason DeVue's office was on the phone. Environment Nova Scotia was on the phone. Lands and Forest was on the phone to discuss the issue that we have at the Port Maitland Harbour and Beach area. That was a very good. It was what, about an hour and 20 minutes, an hour and a half that we had that discussion. October 16th, I was pleased to have both Councillor Cushion, Councillor Durkee, and Councillor Trevor Cunningham and Mark Blend attend the RENS strategic planning session at the Grand Hotel. It was a full day or full afternoon session. It's their action, or looking at their action plan for the next 3 years and so on. They're just finishing off their last 3-year plan, and they're looking at, in their action plan, quality of life, the people, and business. I did kind of bring forward in sidebar discussion, investment readiness is the most important piece to this giant puzzle that I believe is one of the most important parts of their plan. Be investment ready to help any business. October 18th, I was in Halifax again for a priorities meeting. The priorities committee is a committee that the Department of Environment had requested the Solid Waste Resource Management regions form to look at the efficiency that can be achieved in reducing the amount of second-generation landfills and MRFs in Nova Scotia. In the state of Michigan, which has over 5 million people, they have one landfill. The province of Nova Scotia is just under 1 million people, and we have 7 second-generation landfills. So there is an inefficiency there, and so the meeting on the 18th was to have a lengthy discussion on that, then how we're moving forward with that, where that project stands. But also at that meeting, we had a discussion, and it'll be interesting because Victoria, the CAO, has just been away to an AMA conference, and she had a chance to have some discussion, I believe, on EPR. And I think you met one of my colleagues, Amanda McDougall. She sits on this resource management committee with me, and that's why she wasn't at the priorities meeting, because she was at the AMA conference. We had a discussion on EPR with, believe it or not, from across Canada, teleconferencing, Canadian Tire, Walmart, Sobeys, and what's Costco on the phone? Can't remember. There were so many new people on the discussion on EPR, which we're hoping to be able to get into place. And that in itself, if it was in place today, it would be 3 years before you would see any return. And that return to the province of Nova Scotia on estimates as of today, if it was in place and it was 3 years was up, would be a $16 million benefit to the municipal units within Nova Scotia. The money that you're paying out now, you'd get a return of $16 million. So, which would help municipalities right across the province quite a little bit. On the 20th, I attended the fire department, the Yarmouth Fire Department's annual banquet at the Grand Hotel, and I was pleasantly pleased with the turnout, but they had some real sad news there, and I didn't realize it is for both veterans and serving volunteer firemen at this time. And from their banquet last year to the banquet this year, they lost 7 of their veterans, which and one had just passed away the other day. That was a little disappointing. I think that's the largest number that they've had pass on in a year's time. So I think they were a little sad and so on, but it was a nice banquet, a lot of good presentations and so on, and I enjoyed going to that one. October 22nd, waste check meeting. I was a little late there, so the co-chair or the vice chair looked after that meeting for me, but I was able to sit in and listen to some of the discussion on that. At 3:30, I met with the CAO and fellow councillors here, as you're all well aware, on the 22nd, to discuss some issues with some matters of the municipality with the consultants and so on. The other day, innovation session at the Nova Scotia Community College. I was had been invited to go, so I went. I was pleasantly surprised that Councillor Trevor Cunningham was there, and Mark Blinn also was there, along with about 250 other people. It was well attended and so on. A lot of new entrepreneurs with their ideas and so on. The support that they are able to receive from the provincial government and the different organizations is really tremendous. And they're pushing the Ignite Lab and innovation, and it's very important to this area. And we were pleased that one of the sessions was held here in Yarmouth. There was people from as far away as Cape Breton there, so it was quite something. Believe it or not, tomorrow I'm going to be in Halifax for the Mobius Award. And the reason I'm bringing this up is it's an annual event put on by Divert Nova Scotia. The Mobius Award is an award of excellence in the recycling of a product, new ideas in reusing of products and so on. And what makes me really pleased is there's only 7 awards given out in all of Nova Scotia. And as in the past, not always, but Region 7, which is from Digby to Argyle, we have 2 winners. Of all 7 categories, we have 2 winners. In Yarcrow, the store next door, I don't know if you're familiar with it, on the hockey sticks and so on. And I imagine some of you have seen some of their products, but man, do they make some products with the old hockey sticks. But here's what I didn't realize. These hockey sticks aren't just from, I'll say, within Nova Scotia. These hockey sticks arrive from across Canada. They are literally sent by other arenas. They are literally sent by hockey players, NHL hockey players, and so on, because I wondered where they got all the hockey sticks. They literally have thousands of broken hockey sticks, and they do a lot of things with them. They just don't make something, they make all kinds of things. It's amazing. Anyway, they've won, and the other one is Gert Sweeney. Gert Sweeney has won Hall of Fame for her work that she has done from the bar. And I got thinking when I wrote this, the bar. Everybody's going to think, of a drinking bar. It is from the Yarmouth Bar, the harbour, all the way over to the lighthouse. She has very strongly supported the cleaning of the road, of the ditches, and picking up of litter on the beach and everything. And she had been for a number of years a member of the Friends of the Light and so on. And she won Hall of Fame. And the reason why I wanted to bring this up, and I'm talking about it, because last year at the Mobius, the Hall of Fame winner was from Yarmouth again, and that was David Harris. So it makes me feel really proud that Region 7 has had a lot of people that have stood out in all of the province of Nova Scotia as being people who have worked very hard to look after recycling and so on, and promote it, and looking after the province. One important part that I want to say here is October has been Library Month, and as a young person growing up, and when we were all young, we thought of the library as a place to go that you had read books, or you could take books out and read and get educated. You had to do a project. Well, today 99% of us walk around with these. If I want anything, I can look it up. My wife has on her iPad, any book she wants, she can look up and read. But I got thinking, a library is not just a library anymore. It does a lot of other things. It does a lot of community events. It also does a lot of for community organizations that can go in and sit down and have meetings. They have youth kind of groups. They have young kids going in for storybook telling time and so on. So the library is not just a library any longer. It is a place where you can go and get other information and do other things. So I know it's the end of the month, but it has been Library Month, October. So a couple of quick points. Halloween is around the corner, so watch out for the young kids on the roads. Watch out for any driveways you're going by. That some young kids, it's their first or second Halloween that they're going. They're 7 or 8 years old and they're happy and they come running down the driveway. So be careful on that. But something else that I noticed in the news and have heard, school's been open for 2 months, and the passing of parked or stopped school buses has risen over last year. And I know they promote it very strongly and so on, but I'm asking the public to please stop when they see a stopped school bus. Our youth are our future, and to have an accident would be a tragedy. So I'm just putting that out there and so on. And coming to the end, councillors, is Remembrance Day is on November 11th, which is a Sunday. Please take the time to remember those who gave of themselves to give us everything that we have today. Also, take the time to remember those that are serving and protecting us on a daily basis. That is our military today, the nurses, the police, the Coast Guard, ground search and rescue. Please remember them on Remembrance Day, and that is my report. Item number 6, presentation, second reading of the property assets cleaning. Let me start over again. Second reading, property access clean energy PACE program bylaw, P-088-18. Who has that? Who's? Councillor Durkee, go ahead.
Thank you. Sorry, I'd like to make a motion to pass the second reading of the Property Assessment Clean Energy Program, which we refer to as the PACE bylaw, P0-88-18. What this allows is for residents to apply for financial assistance to improve the energy efficiency of their homes. What it would do is, if you apply and get approved, then that would be added to your tax bill, and it's essentially a loan in order to help with these improvements. So it involves the building envelope upgrades, and it involves interior improvements as well, but this all has to be approved by an energy efficient coordinator.
That's the second reading. Do we have to have a second? No. This is just the second reading, right?
Yes.
Yes. But it has to be a motion in order
Yes.
to pass. Yes.
Yes.
Okay, that's what I was looking for. Okay, it's been moved by Patty, seconded by Councillor Trevor Cunningham. You ready for the question? Question being called. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Contrary minded? Motion carried. Now, it would be my understanding that if it passes second reading, that it automatically, yes, so it gets sent off now to the minister. Go ahead, Deputy Warden.
Mr. Chair, does it not have a 14-day grace period where any member of the public may go to the Utility Review Board and appeal the decision of council? So it would technically be 14 days before it would come into effect?
Well, it has,
And it has to, correct me if I'm wrong on this, Greg, but it has to have the ministerial approval before it comes into effect anyway.
yeah,
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 yeah. So, yeah.
yeah. Item number 7, business arising. Council remunerate. You guys all know it. Remuneration. Yeah, I apologize. I'm tongue. Well, from September 27th, special council meeting, tax change update. 7.1.1 FCM report. Change in 1/3 federal tax exemption for elected officials. A guide for Canadian municipalities. And here. What is the wishes of council? Sometimes
So if I can, Mr. Warden,
Please.
just for the benefit of those in the gallery, the Federation of Canadian Municipalities provided a brief outlining what the options were for councillors. Canada Revenue Agency is removing the allowance for 1/3 of council's stipend to be tax-free. That stipend used to basically cover off expenses that they didn't claim, and so it was deemed tax-free. CRA has changed their determination on that rule, so 100% of the money that councillors are paid is taxable now. So the discussion is around how do we deal with that? How do we handle that? And so the brief that's in council's package, which is available online, basically outlines the options. And in Nova Scotia, it's being recommended that Nova Scotia municipalities basically increase the salary so that their net take-home pay doesn't change. And a calculation has been provided to this council based on the earnings of this council on what that impact would be. And those are all available online. They're public documents.
Go ahead, Councillor.
Yes, Mr. Warden. This is another tax grab from the federal government, and one of many. And I mean, the suggestion from Nova Scotia Federation of Municipalities, and I understand the rationale and the reason. I think it's good, but at the end of the day, I don't feel that, even though the federal government is grabbing the cash from councillors, so to speak, through Canada Revenue Agency and removing that benefit of 1/3 of it being taxable, I don't feel as though we can pass those additional costs on to the residents. So I not going to be making a motion to support the increase in salary remuneration, nor would I support such a motion. So that's my position.
Thank you, Councillor. Anybody else have any comments? I apologize, Councillor Durkee.
Yes, the difference, the increase, in order for us to continue to take home the same amount that we do, is an 11% increase, which it seems considerably high. But that being said, I would like to see what the rest of the province is doing and follow suit with what the other municipalities are doing. I don't think it's fair to, quite frankly, to shortchange all our councillors, because I know that the amount of time and energy that's put into this job, and the pay, quite frankly, is quite low. And I also am concerned with, in general, that should this continue in this manner, that the attraction of people going into politics will be limited. People are going to say, well, I'm not going to go do that for that amount of money. So I guess my feeling or suggestion is to check with the rest of the other organizations to find out what they're doing and follow suit.
If I can, Mr. Warden.
Yes.
I don't have the exact ratio, so there are 50 municipalities in the province of Nova Scotia that are impacted by this decision. I don't have the ratio, but I do know it's a majority are going with the net zero. So basically the net income would remain the same and the gross income would increase to offset the tax difference. But I don't have the exact numbers, but the majority are doing that.
Go ahead, Councillor Christian. I'm trying to figure this out here.
Thank you, Mr. Warden.
I'd like to have it in a split.
I kind of agree with what Councillor Trevor Cunningham had to say.
Yeah.
I never got into being a councillor for the money part of it, because it's certainly is not a factor in trying to serve your community, in trying to make your community a better place to live. I got into that for getting to be a councillor because of that reason. So I'm satisfied with, and I'm not too worried about if somebody wants to get in to become a councillor, they're getting in there for the money. That's the wrong reason to get in to be a councillor. To be a councillor, you got to be there to dedicate your time for the betterment of your district and the betterment of the municipality of a whole. So I just wanted to make that point.
Go ahead, Councillor Cunningham.
Mr. Warden, to put the issue on the floor, I think we've got all the facts we need in front of us. The CAO's provided the fact. I think with enough accuracy that the majority will be supporting this. I won't be supporting the motion that I'm about to make, but I'll make it to put it on the floor if there's a seconder. So I'll move that we that the municipality district of Yarmouth approve the remuneration increase is circulated at 11%. That is motion to just strictly to put it on the floor.
Okay, it's been moved. Do we have a seconder? It's been seconded by Councillor LeBlanc. You've heard the motion, and I have to apologize, Councillor Cunningham. You're supporting the 11% increase? No, you put the motion on the floor. Put it on as for 11%. Okay, and I think I'm understanding it right, that 11% increase would cost $20,000 more. Am I understanding it right?
$20,115.20 plus some CPP.
Yes. Okay. To my fellow, unless somebody else has something to say at this time, I'd like to speak on, if I may. You've seen or heard my report and so on, and I have no issues supporting the municipality. My time, and I'm not better than anybody else, but my time involved with the municipality in the last 2 years has increased. With our new CAO, Victoria, I think we've all seen a change in where the municipality can go, what the municipality can do, and I'm not disagreeing in any way, shape, or form, but she has, I've had to step up to the plate a little more because of her drive to get things done, meetings and so on with the CAO. I know the Deputy Warden, after a meeting on Monday night, you folks all left. The Deputy Warden and I stayed, and we talked for, another hour and a half after that, 2 hours, discussion-wise. I am like anybody else. I would like to be able to go home and so on. But she has stepped up to the plate, and she's making, I think, each and every one of us as councillors do more and spend more of our time. I realize some of us may be retired and so on, but I'm not retired, and so I'm working just as hard as I ever did, but now I'm working a little harder. My trips to Halifax have increased and so on, and it's not because of the municipality, but it is because of the committees I sit on for the municipality, and I have worked my way up through the ranks to sit as chairman, vice chair, and so on different committees, that my time to go to Halifax, like I say, I'm not leaving this evening. I'm leaving early tomorrow morning for my meeting in Halifax, and I'll be coming home on Friday morning to meet and do other things. I don't want to lose any more than what I have to, and for the federal government to step in and take another small chunk, it kind of takes a little more wind out of my sails of wanting to move forward for the municipality. I'm dedicated, and I'll do. But to Councillor Trevor Cunningham's comment and so on, I'm glad he put it on the floor as a motion to move forward with the 11% increase and so on, which I am going to support and so on fully. And but it's up to the rest of you whether you do or you don't. And I'll support whichever way it goes. But I'm working harder now in the last 6 months than I did the year before. And I want to thank you for doing that, because I think she's finding that in all of us, and we had the capability and she's bringing it out. So those are my comments on it. Just a second. Deputy Warden, you have the floor.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chair. I will also be supporting this. As you all know, I work a full-time job and also own my own small business. And someone said to me, they said, "Oh, you're getting into it for the money." I'm going to tell you something right now. I could make a heck of a lot more money than sitting around the council tables and hitting the meetings. What my big fear is if there's not a proper remuneration to anyone who wishes to run for council, all we're going to have is people that are retired and have time on their hands. Remuneration, in a way, offsets some of the time that you spend away from your full-time job and your family and stuff like that. In my opinion, there needs to be a diverse council, different age groups, different genders, you name it. And by cutting back on remuneration, in my opinion, for anyone who could possibly be looking at doing a councillor's job for a term in a district, it may be a big deterrent, because it's always been said out there, as I said before, that you don't make any money doing this, and I can certainly attest to I can be making a heck of a lot more by turning wrenches than I can by doing this, by the amount of time. I will be in favor of this motion for the simple fact that I believe it's an incentive to get different people of different age groups into council. So someone who's starting out a family and younger, I would really like to see people like that run, and by offering less money is going to be cutting back on that pool of people, in my opinion. So I'll leave it at that.
Councillor Trevor Cunningham?
Right, and I appreciate all the arguments on the other side of the ledger, and they do, and they're well put and accurate. But I guess for me, the balance is that would rather not pass that cost along to the municipal ratepayer at this time. You know, I don't think the province, not the province, the federal government should have put us in this place to have to choose between passing along the increase to the residents, downloading more, or receiving less as councillors. But for my part, the balance of the long and short is I just don't think that I can vote for it to pass it along to the municipal resident. But I don't think the folks that will be voting for the motion are entirely wrong or anything like that. I think they have good reason to vote the other way as well. So I'll say that.
Councillor Cushion?
Thanks again, Mr. Warden. Again, I don't appreciate that people who are retired or semi-retired are the only ones that will be picking up a council position. We've all admitted here that we put a lot of time, a lot of hours, a lot of traveling, a lot of meetings to do our job. In saying that, if we're, I really don't care who runs for council, but we're talking younger people nowadays. Mom and dad both have to work, and if they're working their 40 hours a week, are they going to have enough time to do the work as a councillor? So I don't think it's fair to pick on people who are retired or semi-retired and saying that they're the only ones that are going to be to run for council. It's open. If anybody wants to run for council, so be it. Whether they're retired, semi-retired, working, young, old, doesn't matter about the gender, doesn't matter. All I know is I put a lot of hours in, a lot of time in, and again, I have to go with Councillor Trevor Cunningham. I don't think it's fair to put the that extra burden on the taxpayer.
I don't, if I may, if there's no, I don't see anybody else wishes to speak right at this time. So I want to take the opportunity, looking at my agenda. Now I realize as your warden, there's, I have a few more meetings and I sit on a few more committees and so on. But I know each and every one of you sit on meeting, on other committees of the municipality and so on. And I thought I'd look into my November. I'm not into November yet. And just looking quick, there's basically 30 days in November. I have 11 of them already booked. And of those 11, I have 5 trips to Halifax. My time is important to me. When I am doing for the municipality, I am away. Even at coming to a meeting, I am spending time. I do enjoy working on behalf of the municipality and for the residents of the municipality. But if you want sometimes quality, you have to pay. If this is no reflection on the residents, this is because of the federal government stepping in and taking. We've noticed it in the past. We've seen it from the provincial government when we call it downloading and so on. And in order to have people who want to be dedicated to doing something, you can't keep taking money from them and expecting them to still put in the same amount of energy, the same amount of time. Lauren, I know you have grandchildren. I see you out. You're very dedicated to your community. You're very dedicated to the municipality and so on. But I see you enjoy your time on walking and so on. I see you enjoy your time spending with residents and so on, even in the town of Yarmouth and so on. I know Patty does a lot of other volunteer work and so on. As Councillor John Cunningham stated, he has a full-time job, plus he has a family business and so on. So his time is very important. Now, what a lot of people don't realize, that Mr. Cunningham, John worked today. John had to leave work. John drove home, got changed, came back into a council meeting this evening. He'll probably get home around 9:30 or so this evening. But his travel time and the wear and tear on his vehicle and so on, it costs. And if we want people to step up to the plate, we want younger people, you want retired people. There's diversity in every age group and so on. But I have 3 boys. They're all of voting age, and they all could run to be a councillor if they wished. They have no desire to step up to the plate. It isn't because they see their father doing meetings and so on. It's just because they don't have the time, and the time that they do have for relaxation is for themselves. To go to barbecues, go to the beach, do whatever. They are not, at this time in their life, and they're 39 years old, they're 32 years old, and they're 28 years old. They do not want to step up and do any of this kind of thing. You know, time is important. And the 7 of you that sit around this table have been more than dedicated to giving of your time. So in order to have that time, we are residents and we are taxpayers too, you have to be willing to give something back. And the increase, in order to keep us at the same level that we were, I think is fair. I know some people will think, hey, no, it isn't. It is. We do give of our time. Because Councillor Alan Daniel isn't here this evening, but you heard what the CAO said. He took the time to be in touch with her today personally, to get in here and so on, and he's out fishing tonight. But he was still dedicated to the time to come in and still drove to go fishing to get ready for the season. So there's dedication, and you have to pay for that sometime. So unless there's nothing else, anybody else have anything to? Go ahead, Deputy Warden.
There's also other options if council wishes to proceed. There's the mileage option that you could, like your travel time.
Yes.
Something that a lot of people don't realize, I come to the municipality at least twice a week during my lunch hour from Tusket, and that would be I think it's a 28-kilometer round trip from Tuscan Ford to here.
Yeah.
So there are other options. If council decides to vote this down, I may consider putting something else on the table, just so you're all aware.
Okay. 40. Okay. So, yeah. So, okay, you've had a motion put on the floor by Councillor Trevor Cunningham, been seconded by Councillor LeBlanc, was it? Yes. Question on the motion been called. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Contrary minded? You wish to have that recorded? Please, Councillor Trevor Cunningham and Councillor Lauren Cushion. Motion passed. Thank you very much. (7.2) Yarmouth County Agricultural Society request for 2019-2020 grant. You have both their financial statement and their 2018 report in the package. The request, I believe, is for $500. Am I right? Yes. What is the wishes of council? Go ahead, Deputy Warden.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chair. I'd like to make a motion to approve the grant request for the amount of $500 to come from the 2019-2020 grants budget allocation.
You've heard them. Been moved by Deputy Warden John Cunningham, seconded by Councillor Lauren Cushion. Was there any further discussion on the motion? Hearing none. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Contrary minded? Motion carried. Thank you. (7.3) E-voting. E-voting. Is that you, Deputy Warden? I'm so far behind you. Yes. Oh, sorry, I thought I had. Go ahead, Councillor.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chair. As you all know, the election's coming up in 2 short years, and after our decision we just made regarding council remuneration, it may be coming up a lot quicker than we think. So, over the past 2 elections, I know that the municipality of Argyle and the town of Yarmouth have engaged in e-voting practices. Now, what e-voting is being able to vote for your councillor online, whether it be via telephone or via internet. So at our last committee of the whole discussion, it was decided that council bring this forward to the regular council meeting to make a decision on whether we direct staff or not to number one, set up possibly presentations by a company, and also maybe contact the CEOs of the municipality of Argyle and also the town of Yarmouth in the regards of exactly how it works, the pros and the cons of e-voting. I don't know a lot about it. I do know that there is a push out in the municipality of Yarmouth, not necessarily in my district where our internet service is so limited. However, I know there's a push to be able to gain easier access to vote when the municipal election's coming up. And I also think that it's also our council's due diligence to make it as easy as possible for people out there to vote, whether it be the old-fashioned paper ballot or whether it be a telephone or e-voting via computer. So therefore, I'm going to set forward a motion to my motion would be to direct staff to contact one or more companies that supply e-voting services to make a presentation to council at our next available committee of the whole meeting.
Okay, been moved by Deputy Warden John and seconded by Councillor Durkee. You all understand the motion? Is there any further discussion on that motion? Question being called. Excuse me, do you have... Go ahead, Councillor.
We will be having a further discussion about this. We're not going to go to e-voting tonight, are we?
No,
Have a
this is just a
further
motion
discussion.
to have
Okay.
staff book it to...
Because I don't approve of it myself.
Okay. Okay, that's fine. The question being called, I'm sorry. Trevor, no?
And it's a late comment, but I'm not, certainly not opposed to e-voting. I think probably it does help voter turnout. But if we could ask them to especially address the security concerns, they cropped up in the latest Ontario municipal elections. If you were watching those the other evening, between that and sports, the hockey game, basketball game. I don't know which to watch, sports or politics. But in any event, there were some e-voting issues in a number of jurisdictions in Ontario, and they extended the voting. So if they know much about that or could speak to that issue, it would be useful at the committee of the whole time to have an update there as to what went down and how they would protect against that. Thank you.
Deputy Warden?
Thank you very much, Mr. Chair. This motion is only to collect information so council can make a decision whether we wanted to proceed or not with e-voting. As we all know, there was an issue within the municipality district of Argyle the first time that they tried it in regards to someone voted in the wrong place at the time. I know it's almost 8 years now since that happened, and I do believe that possibly the security concerns or issues may have been or may not have been solved. So that would give our council an opportunity to ask someone who's in the know or provides a service to find out what concerns there are. And as Councillor Cunningham had also suggested that there was problems in Ontario. So we can do a little bit of homework before they come and ask the person, has those issues been addressed? Yes, thank you very much. This is not a decision to go forward with e-voting, it's just to gain information since our municipal election is out 2 years.
Okay. The questions has been called. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Contrary minded? Motion carried. Thank you. 7.4, criminal record check fees. I believe you have that in your package. You also have some information there. What is the wishes of council? What do you wish? Councillor Cunningham?
I'll move that the municipality district of Yarmouth discontinue the charging of fees associated with criminal records checks.
Been moved. We have a seconder. Seconded by Councillor Durkee. Is there any discussion on that motion? Hearing none. Question being called. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Contrary minded? Motion carried. Thank you. 7.5, asset management. Request for council appointment. Now, okay. Councillor Cushion, go ahead.
Well, I don't know if he was going to explain it or not, but I just want to put my name forward to set on that asset management board. All right?
Okay. Okay. Deputy Warden.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chair. I'd like to make the motion that we appoint Councillor Lauren Cushing to the Asset Management Committee.
We have a mover. Do we have a seconder? Seconded by Councillor Durkee. Go ahead.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chair. One thing I would have really liked myself to put my name forward to this committee. However, due to time constraints, I do not have the time to travel to Halifax on the dates already requested. However, with that said, it's very important that we move forward with this. It will put us in the forefront of knowing how to make sure that we are going to be able to apply for all these grants and stuff in the future, because we have to know where our assets are. And one thing that we're going to have, Councillor Cushing, you're going to have to do is make yourself very aware of our land use bylaws and municipal planning strategies, because those also apply. As the chair of the PAC, I would have liked to have the time to put my name forward, but unfortunately I don't. So therefore I ask that you be appointed.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded, but I want to make a comment. When I read the requirements and so on, and I looked at, they've already set the 3 dates for the first 3 meetings, and so on, and I looked and said, well, they kind of conflict with some of my dates already, and one of the requirements that's set out in this, if whoever sits on this committee is, you best be willing and able to go to the meetings. I kind of got the impression that sickness doesn't count, and so on. The dedication, both from our CAO and our Director of Finance, also have to be able to travel to these meetings, the commitment and so on. And I looked at them because my commitments for some of the committees I sat on out of the province, they would be conflicting. And if I'm chairing a meeting and was sitting on asset management, I have to go to one, and it would have been to the committee of the province and so on. And so I was not going to be putting my name forward for this, and I thought each and every one of my councillors have plenty to do. I know Councillor Trevor Cunningham, I won't say that he lives in Halifax, but he travels a lot. So I knew that Trevor, I knew Councillor, the Deputy Warden, with his busy schedule and so on, and the only ones I could think of was Gerard, Lauren, and Patty. And I know Patty stays quite busy, and I know that Lauren, you stay quite active in a lot of things within your community. And I know that Councillor Daniel Allen wasn't going to be submitting a name, so it was getting down to, So the motion on the floor is for Councillor Lauren Cushion to sit on the Asset Management Committee. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Contrary minded? Carried. I would strongly suggest, sir, that you go home, that you pack a bag and have it sitting there, because I know, so, but just be ready, travel. Case in point, 7.6, future drought incentives. And I believe that's to the CAO, please.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. So part of the activity that we undertook as staff in our drought response protocol this summer was looking at, given that this is the second time we've been in this situation in 3 years, what can we do as staff to support council and support the community to be ready for future events? And so some ideas have been floating around that. And while we were discussing that, I received a message from our Municipal Affairs Advisor, Ahmad Chouan, and Minister Chuck Porter has requested a meeting with the municipalities who were affected by the drought this summer, the warden and the CAO from those municipalities. So Warden Anthony and I will be meeting with Minister Porter on November the 6th with our colleagues in other municipalities to talk about the shortage and talk about a response that's more comprehensive, that seems to suit the climate change conditions that we're facing. And so I wanted to make you aware that the response wasn't just confined to what did we need to do this summer, that we are thinking, okay, there's a trend now, and we need to have a longer view on what we're going to do to be prepared. So first steps are in order, and for council to be watching for things to develop along those lines going forward.
I believe that the provincial government is looking at 2016, we had the issue here in Southwest Nova. 2018, we had the issue here. And I think you will find in the coming years that it is not going to be just in Southwest Nova. I believe they're going to see that it'll either somewhere in Cape Breton and so on, and I think they want to be more prepared. So with us having had 2 years in our experience, I think they want to tap into us and see what we can do, that the province can be more prepared, either through EMO or whatever, to be able to handle a situation like this. We look at it right now as just in a certain area and you're able to handle it, but an EMO exercise and so on, this could turn into, it could be all of Southwest Nova. It could be Lunenburg, Chester, Yarmouth County, and so on. If we have a real dry year and so on, and they're going to be looking at a larger area to try and cover. A lot of people don't realize that through TIR, through EMO, there was water tankers at our depot out here in the case of a fire, whether forest fire or a house fire, anywhere within our area, and there was no water, that they had tankers that were loaded and ready to go with water and so on. Those are a lot of the things that I think that Municipal Affairs wants to look into. Go ahead, Councillor Durkee.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Yes, I would much prefer that we take a proactive approach to any future drought problems that we have. There were a number of residents who were very upset that we reacted, and we took too long to react to a number of situations where people were out of water much earlier than others. So I'm thankful that this initiative has been started.
Okay. Nothing further. We'll move on to 7.7, the Public Works Building. I believe that is you again, CEO.
So, Mr. Chairman, I have provided a brief to council with respect to that project and the background around it. So just as a refresher, the municipality has gone to market twice to receive tender bids on a possible new building to house the maintenance activities of our Public Works Department. In both cases, the bids came in significantly above budget and were outside of the investment this council was willing to make. So staff were directed to look at other options where we could leverage existing buildings or existing activities to try and provide that required space for our Public Works Department to provide maintenance to our equipment. So a team of staff looked at some options, made some evaluations. We had some discussions with some professionals in the constructions trade. And so my recommendation to council was that a Public Works building not be built, but rather we put a 3,100 square foot addition on the existing maintenance shed at the Hebron Rotary Complex.
What is the wishes of council? Councillor Trevor Cunningham?
Right. I'll move that the municipality district of Yarmouth, under the leadership of our CAO, move forward with the project at the Hebron Recreation Center as discussed by is outlined by our CAO.
Been moved by Councillor Trevor Cunningham, seconded by Councillor Lorna Cushion. What is the discussion? Go ahead, Councillor.
So I'm very, very pleased with this development. As you're aware, I was on record many times, voted against many capital budgets for the building of the Public Works building adjacent to this building. It was overpriced, and this is much better value for the money. My understanding there's going to be some road improvements up there potentially, which are needed in the envelope. Also, the fact that we're not having another capital asset to build and maintain over a period of time. We're just expanding one that we currently own. There are restrooms up there, all that type of thing. So much more cost effective use of municipal money. And the best part of it is it actually meets the needs as certainly were requested from staff. So the needs are being met to house the equipment and so forth. So pleased to death to be able to support the motion.
Thank you, Councillor. Councillor Cushion, go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Warden. I agree with Trevor on a number of items. I know when I first became councillor and into our councillor lounge and looking out at all that expensive equipment out there, setting in the outdoors and deteriorating, rusting, and problems resulting from all this work, and where do the guys have a chance to do some type of repairs? It would have been great that we could afford to have a building right here on site, but because of the cost factor and whatnot, it certainly wasn't feasible. But I think overall, as Councillor Trevor Cunningham was saying, the needs will be met, and I'm glad to see that the equipment will be stored and inside, and then when it needs to be used in the wintertime, it can leave without them having to dig out their equipment before they even get a chance to use it. So it's a very positive plus thing for them. It may not be exactly what they wanted, but it certainly meets the needs that have been needed in this municipality for years. So I'm glad to see it happen.
Was there any further discussion on the motion? Hearing question being called. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Contrary minded? Motion carried. Thank you. 7.8, letter from Municipality of Argyle. for the Mariner Center funding. You have that in your package. Why did mine come up? What is the wishes of, I was gonna, yeah, here, I have it here. I'm gonna, for the general public, I thought I would, with your permission, I will read the letter from the municipality of Argyle. Warden Anthony, thank you for your letter dated July 24th, 2018, requesting 1/3 of the required capital funding for upgrades to the Mariner Center, which will in turn reduce operational costs. I am pleased to inform you that the council approved your request in full in the amount of $61,666. If you have any questions or comments, please do not hesitate to contact our CAO, Alain Muse, and the phone number, and so on. I just wanted the general public to hear what the letter was, not just for us to approve it. What is the wishes council? Just to put it on file? That's all we need? Yep. Okay. 7.9. Yes. Letters of thanks per the drought situation in the municipality this past summer. And I guess at this time, the municipality put out a press release and so on that was put out there, and I'm just going to highlight some of it. The municipality of the District of Yarmouth, in cooperation with EMO Nova Scotia and the municipality of Argyle and the town of Yarmouth, recognized a significant need to support residents experiencing water shortages and outages. In June, the municipality of Yarmouth began monitoring conditions and developing please response plan. Successfully meeting the needs of residents was the results of collaboration, cooperation, and volunteerism. As I stated earlier, in the last month has seen significant rainfall, and therefore the need for a coordinated campaign is no longer required. The municipality of Yarmouth wishes to thank EMO coordinators Max Stillenberger and Janice Muse, municipality of Argyle, town of Yarmouth, EMO Nova Scotia, Ground Search and Rescue, Dayton Red and White, Arcadia Convenience Store, Carleton County Outfitters, The Ark, Carleton Fire Department, Mariner Center, and residents for cooperating and using water conservation to limit the effects of this dry summer. That was a press release that we put out thanking each and every one that helped get us through this time. And as you as councillors are aware, we passed a policy for to help residents drill or dig new wells, and I believe at this time there has been 11. There has been 11 that had applied and received funding for that. The older style wells that we're all well aware of, in a pun, were dug, and a lot of the equipment 30 years ago could only go down to a maximum of about 25 feet. With the new equipment that they have now, they go down to 30, 35 feet. So a lot of the new wells that are dug with excavators and so on, and there is a reservoir that's put down at the bottom of each and every one of the wells. It's 3 well rings around the main well ring. And if you strike water and so on, you will have a good supply of water, possibly in the future if there was another drought. So like I say, there's been 11 applications and 11 have been fulfilled as of today. But just to thank you. Was there any comments that any councillor wishes to make? If not, we'll move on then. Under new business, 8.1. You have this in your package. Request for capital loan from the Kemptville Volunteer Fire Department. You have that. What is the wishes of council? You've had that opportunity to, I hope, read and go through it. What is the wishes? They're looking for a request of 150, and that falls within your policy and so on. Go ahead, councillor.
So, yeah, the request is for a new financing for a new fire truck. And the transaction details are, the loan would be financed through the municipality of District of Yarmouth in the amount of $150,000. The repayment terms would be over a 10-year amortization with the interest at the municipality district borrowing rate plus 1%, no early repayment penalty, and payments monthly. So I'll move that we approve the move forward with the financing for the Kemptville Fire Department. And I'll add that certainly always good to support volunteer fire departments, because they're great folks in the community, and we need them and the community needs them.
Okay. Do we have a seconder for that motion? Been moved by Councillor Trevor Cunningham, seconded by Councillor Lauren Cushion. Any further discussion on that motion? Question being called. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Contrary minded? Motion carried. Thank you. I knew the motion, was quite sure the motion was passed. Does all of that come out of this year's, or was budget? It will, like the full, I remember reading it the other night, but I can't remember fully. Was the truck wasn't going to be arriving until May, was it? 2019?
Well, I guess it's a loan, so when they submit their invoice, we'll release the money.
Okay.
And it's
Okay.
a loan, so it's not really a
Yeah,
function of our
sure,
fiscal year.
yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. 8.2, Heritage Committee recommendations. You have that in your package.
So Franson is here to answer questions that council might have on the recommendation from the committee.
Okay. You have that in your package, councillors. Is there any questions for Francine? Who's going to be bringing the motion forward? Go ahead, Councillor Durkee.
Okay, the Heritage Advisory Committee approved a motion for substantial alterations of 89 Main Shore Road in Sanford. So I'd like to make a motion to approve the alterations at 89 Main Shore Road, which would include replacing the 6/6 vinyl window inserts. The front entrance will maintain the bracketed crown above the door and side lights, the side lights to be 6-pane, and recommend the door to be similar in style as the existing door with the same window size, but the clapboards on the front facade need to remain and not be replaced with shingles, as this is a character defining element.
Okay. It's been moved by Councillor Durkee, seconded by Councillor LeBlanc. Was there any questions and so on to Francine? If councillors don't have any, I have a question. I didn't read the complete application. Does the applicant is fine with, is this all that they'd asked for? I have to apologize, I didn't read it. I didn't go through it. The motion covers everything that they required or wish to have?
No.
It didn't?
No, in their application, they were requesting to replace the 6/6 wood windows with vinyl inserts. That was moved forward. They are requesting the front door. That was addressed. The thing that wasn't in their favor was that they were looking to remove the clapboards and replace them with the wood shingles, because the front facade of the house is clapboards and the other 3 facades of the house are wood shingles. The committee felt that the clapboard was listed as a character defining element and therefore they should remain. I was also instructed to contact Kevin Barrett with the Province of Nova Scotia Heritage and Culture to ask him if in fact it was a design element of the time period or if it was something that could have been added later on over the years. And his response to me was that back in the day, this house was built in 1797. So this is one of our older homes that we do have within the municipality. And back in the day, the front facades of the houses were, if you could afford it, you would put the clapboard. And that was a statement to the public saying, hey, I can't afford clapboard, and there it is, it's on the front of my house. If they couldn't afford to do the remainder of the house, it was done in wood shingles. Those houses that you see that have clapboard around the house,
Okay,
those were people that had the money and wanted to show people through their homes that they were able to afford the clapboard.
okay. Now, I guess my only question, I don't know whether to you, Francine, or to Councillor Durkee, the clapboard that they had requested, is it old? Is it, I'm gonna use the word rotten, excuse for that term, but is it something that should be replaced or needed to be replaced? I mean, we aren't making them leave something on the house that's not of, it's not like a window that's falling out. Was this clapboard ready to fall off their house, or et cetera, that they wanted to possibly change? The clapboard's still in good shape? Okay,
It's hard to tell because that house is covered by shrubbery. So
Okay.
it's very hard to see the facade of the house. They've
Okay.
trimmed it. I haven't been there to examine it. I know most of her concern was to replace it so that the house all had the wood shingles. That was her wishes. The door, she hadn't committed to a door, so the wish of the committee to have the 6 panes on both
Yes.
sides of the door and to have a door that's gonna look approximately like what we have now, I don't think is gonna be an issue.
Okay,
We have to realize that the brackets, they're very old, and once you start doing some work around them, we might lose them, but I think they're fully, she mentioned that they were prepared, she didn't commit, but she did mention that if they had to, they were gonna try to replicate them. And it is the wish of the committee that they stay.
Okay.
But when you're dealing with this old of a property, you don't know what you're gonna encounter when you start working on it.
yeah, okay. I don't see that any councillor has any other question, so, oh, I'm sorry, you just, go ahead, Deputy Warden.
So she did request to have the clapboard replaced with shingles. What would happen, I know this is only hypothetical, and you had mentioned too that the clapboard is covered by shrubbery. What would happen if that clapboard had to be replaced? What would you replace it with?
Clapboard.
Can you still get the same style clapboard? Same,
It doesn't need to be exactly the same as what is existing, as long as it's similar in appearance.
okay.
But also, so that council is aware, the applicant, through the Heritage Property Act, where the municipality does not approve the application, the property owner may, notwithstanding section 17, make the alterations or carry out the demolition at any time after 3 years from the date of the application, but not more than 4 years after the date of the application. So if council passes the recommendation from the Heritage Advisory Committee tonight for the clapboards not to be changed to wood shingles, there is a 1-year time period where the applicant can in fact do so. Okay, just so that you're aware that that is there.
Okay.
I guess I'm thankful I don't own a heritage home then.
I don't think a lot of people realize when you have a home designated as a heritage property, you're taking on a lot of responsibility, because when I sat on heritage, there was some people that went to the extreme when they were replacing the windows, that because of vinyl siding and aluminum and so on, they would have it made to replicate. They would replicate what used to be there and so on, and it would be a little more costly. You could buy, I'll say, the vinyl for $500, but you could have it replicated with wood, cost you $600. They were very dedicated to, having a heritage home, but a heritage home, and we had to do, there were some that came in and were unregistered as heritage home because they couldn't afford to do the renovations that needed to be done to the home and so on, eh?
It's true. And the other thing that you have to balance out is the green energy
Yes,
through these old homes, through these wooden
Yeah.
windows, through these
Yep.
rotten doors. There's a balance for the people to be able to stay and economically
yes,
stay in their homes.
Yeah.
So now there's that balance that's added to the feature of the older style homes.
well, yeah, there sure is. Anyway, there's a motion on the floor. Are you ready for the question? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Contrary minded? Motion carried. Thank you very much, Francine, for your time. Appreciate it. 8.3, September Development Report. You have that in your package. What is the wishes of council? Councillor Cunningham?
I'll move we receive the September development report.
It's been moved. Do we have a seconder? Seconded by Councillor Lauren Cushion. Any further discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Contrary minded, motion carried. 8.4, Signs Committee Recommendation. You have that in your package. That's you, isn't it?
Yes.
Go ahead, Councillor.
At a recent Signs Committee meeting, we had discussed an RFP that had been put out with regards to looking at a study of signs in the community, an improvement to our district, all the districts, to recognize specific locations of certain things to and attractions. However, it was suggested that we may want to consider rebranding first before we do that. So there was a motion made, and it's just not coming up at the moment on my computer.
Yes,
Um,
I have it if you wish me to read it.
I am hoping right now it'll come on my computer. I seem to have this problem every meeting where I want something and it just doesn't open up. So, Mr. Chair, would you like to
Yes,
read
I
that
will.
for us, please?
It was moved by Councillor Lauren Cushion and seconded by Councillor Gerard LeBlanc that a recommendation be made to council to further investigate a rebranding exercise in the first quarter of the next fiscal year. Motion carried unanimously.
Therefore, I'd like to make a motion to further investigate a rebranding exercise in the first quarter of the next fiscal year.
Okay, there we go. We have a mover. Do we have a seconder for that motion? Been moved by Councillor Durkee, seconded by Councillor LeBlanc.
Not happening.
Any questions or concerns? I was going to... Go ahead, Deputy Warden.
Is this motion that was just made to say investigate or
Yeah.
to move forward with?
Investigate.
Investigate, okay.
Yeah.
Just being clear on what the motion was, Mr. Chair.
Okay. I guess my question, the only question I have, and I don't want to belate this or anything, how many have ever been to or have ever participated in a rebranding? Put up your hand. For the three that haven't, I hope they realize that rebranding for a municipal unit, I've been on a couple province-wide too, eh? They can be very time-consuming and they can cost. You know, you can spend a little bit of money, or you can spend a lot of money. And I'm not against rebranding because I believe at the end of our strategic planning action plan, I said that it's about time that the municipality rebrands, because I sat at the rebranding. I was part of the council that rebranded Truly Connected. Go ahead, Councillor.
I guess we came to that conclusion, yes, after your recommendation,
Yeah.
Mr. Warden, that our logo may be fine and our rebranding may only need to focus on the Truly Connected. And the reason
Yes.
being is because there could be a misunderstanding in this day and age that
Yes.
Truly Connected, even though what we're supposed to mean is the land, the water, the people, the big focus is internet. And since
Yes.
we right now have some major issues with internet across Yarmouth County, that people might perceive that incorrectly. So
Yes.
that's why was discussed.
Go ahead, Deputy Warden.
It's funny Councillor Durkee just brought that up because I was talking to someone the other day and I gave them my card for my contact numbers and the first thing they read on it was Truly Connected. He said, I got no internet on my way. How in the heck can I connect with you and why do you have that on your card? So I can understand that, yeah. But I do agree that we should investigate, not necessarily move forward at this time. That I think that timeline is a little bit to investigate a rebranding in the first quarter. It's a little bit too quick, in my opinion. I've gone through rebrandings with Yasta and a couple other things, the airport, and like you said, there's a lot of things that go on in rebranding exercise.
Yes, yeah. Was there any other comments from anybody? If not, I've asked the CAO to kind of touch base a little bit on rebranding.
So Deputy Warden, to your comment on timeline, so the motion is with respect to the fiscal year, which means April, not January.
Yeah, next
So-
fiscal.
So that, and again, that's just to get prepared to investigate it, so, but thank you for being considerate of our time, I appreciate that. The rebranding of the municipality is timely, because the municipality is trying to position itself to take advantage of the opportunities and the assets of the municipality for things that the world wants and the community wants. And so it could be that visually, the graphics that you have in your brand are fine. What we find we're missing is, in addition to what Truly Connected means today versus what it meant when we wrote that, we're also missing a good mission statement. Who are we? Why are we doing what we're doing? And so the exercise could be basically, around just let's get a focus, let's know who we are and what we stand for. So it's important because when we work on the economic development front, when we're working with partners, when we're working with other levels of government, we have to know who we are and what we're bringing to the table in order to do that.
I believe it's important because the rebranding of Truly Connected was done, I'm just going to pass out there, 15 to 18 years ago. And I remember it was over the process for councillors to sit and go over it with the consultants, the amount of meetings and so on. And it was a good exercise at that time and so on. But it was the Truly Connected part, and Councillor Durkee brought up, kind of touched base on it, and I thought, I've been thinking about this for a long time. I've been away to meetings. We've had a lot of meetings here pertaining to broadband, internet, cell service, and so on, and how, Councillor Allen in his residence, Melbourne, Pinckney's Point, don't have the high-speed internet or even internet, and so on. Cell they do have. The Deputy Warden out in his area is the internet and cell service and so on. My area, I have both cell service and internet, but the internet is, it's there, and I use it, but lots of times, I'll say my wife and I will fight over who's going to have the rights to use it. I usually win. But it's not, as you stated, the Truly Connected thought is what people look at. Truly Connected? Well, I can't even get on the internet. You're not truly connected. But at the time, the Truly Connected was a very important part for us, and it was there. So, no. So, did I call the motion on that? No. No. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Contrary minded, motion carried. Thank you. Here again. 8.5, Bylaw and Policy Review Committee Recommendations. 8.5.1, Councillors Conference Policy C-038-18. Who has, Councillor Durkee?
Yay, and I'm thankful that my page opened up. Anyway, I'd like to make a motion to approve the council conference policy C-038-18. And essentially what that says is that councillors are invited to attend any NSFM conferences and FCM conferences, because that's very important that we have our input on initiatives and resolutions, and that anything that conferences that have to do with committees that we sit on, we would have to apply for approval from council.
I second that motion.
So, sorry. We have a mover, do we have a seconder?
I second.
Oh, I'm sorry. Been moved by Councillor Durkee, seconded by Deputy Warden John Cunningham. Councillor Cunningham, go ahead.
My apologies, I sat on the committee and I did not notice this until this point. But conceptually, I'm in favor of everything there. But if you look at part 3, the first 3.1 says the warden, deputy warden, and all councillors may attend the Nova Scotia Federation Federation of Municipalities and Federation of Nova Scotia Federation of Municipalities and Federation of Canadian Municipalities conferences. If you look then down at 3.3, it says council authorization is required to attend conferences held outside of the province of Nova Scotia, which FCM is. So I would think that we'd want to add in there as an edit, with the exception of those conferences named in section 3.1. Add that to the end of 3.3, because I think the intent is not to approve the FCM conferences. That is out of province. The intent is that councillors would attend those without approval of council.
Okay, that's.
So I'll move that as an amendment.
Okay. And
I'll accept that.
mover and seconder are fine with that?
Yes.
Okay. Yes, yeah. Okay. Are you ready for the question? Question being called. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Contrary minded, motion carried. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Oh, I gotta get out of this. 8.6, letter from residents of Port Maitland. You have that in your package, councillors? Let me get it up here. Yes. What is the wishes of council? Oh, I'm sorry. You're still on. Do you want to speak? No. Okay. What is the wishes of council? Go ahead, councillor.
It was suggested that, recommended by council, that we direct the CAO in crafting a response to this letter, outlining the steps that have been taken thus far. Was the first recommendation.
Okay, do we have a seconder to that?
I don't think that was a motion, just like we needed consensus to have the CAO. Yes?
Okay, I'll apologize.
Yes, along with the warden. Thank you.
Okay, I'm fine with that. Okay. The consensus then of council?
Yeah.
It is? Okay, fine.
Thank you.
So the consensus is for the warden, the CAO, to address the question specifically in the letter that has been written by.
Mr.
Have it here.
Outhouse.
By Mr. Outhouse.
Yes.
Yes. Okay.
Okay.
And so on.
And then, seeing that we have been moving forward with the investigations at this point, I would like to make a motion to direct staff to organize an open house so that our residents can view the functioning of our Port Maitland sewage treatment plant, and I would like to see that happen in the next 45 days.
Okay. You wish to have the open house within 45 days?
Yes, please.
Okay. Okay. Please forgive me, I'm a little off here this evening. I don't know if I took my pills or didn't take my pills. I'm not sure which. Excuse me. I'm just going into. So 45 days. Coming across here. So at the very latest, you're looking, well, hopefully before, I want to say 45 days would bring you to almost the second week of December. Okay. So. Okay, I'm just looking for a time frame. Up to, December 8th. Okay, so it'll be before that timeline and so on. What are you looking, what would you suggest, like an afternoon or an all day? What is your, I'm just asking some questions, just before we go.
Not a
through the-
problem. I suggest possibly a Sunday. I guess we could have that discussion with our CAO to see what the best time would be for staff to organize this. Certainly, we need people, remembering that the lobster season starts at the end of November, so we want to make sure that it's done at a time where our lobster fishermen who have their boats there are, and the staff from the lobster pound, we want to make sure that they're able to attend. And so the idea was to have I'm not functioning today either, to have an open house at the fire department.
Okay.
And
at the fire hall.
where we would
Okay.
have information, graphics on display, and then possible bring members of the community to the, in small groups, to the sewage treatment plant.
Okay. Okay, so it's been moved and seconded. Is there any further discussion? All in favor on having an open house? All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Contrary minded? Motion carried. Now, on that note, and I'm not open for debate or for discussion, and I know there is some residents here from Port Maitland, and if you wish, at committee of the whole meetings, which are held the second Wednesday of every month other than December, we have meetings here at the municipal office in the mornings. And if you wish to address council, if you would send a letter requesting be able to make a presentation and have somebody come in and present to council. But I'll be honest with you, we've been doing our due diligence, and as in my report, the CAO, myself, Councillor Durkee, Derek Sutherland, and the other departments of environment, lands and forest, and so on. The MP office, Jason was on the phone, and Zach, we had a good discussion, and from that discussion was to send a letter off to the department, or to Coast Guard, and that letter has gone, and I'll read you an email that I received today from the MP's office. It's in here. Here it is. It was sent this afternoon at 1:52 p.m. Subject: Canadian Coast Guard requests Port Maitland. I understand that council will be meeting tonight and that the issue of pollution in Port Maitland is on the agenda. Our office has received the warden's letter to the Canadian Coast Guard Commissioner. I have forwarded this letter to the Minister of Fisheries and Oceans and the Canadian Coast Guard office, along with a request from our office that water quality sampling and testing be undertaken in the harbor in Port Maitland. Best regards. And that's from the MP's office, Colin Fraser. That came today, as I stated, at 1:52. In our discussion, our teleconferencing discussion here last week, when we discussed, I had asked, and they were willing to do, and that was Department of Lands and Forest, was to do soil sampling of the marsh area around, just to see if there was anything within the soil sampling and so on. The municipality has been doing what we consider our due diligence with the plant, and with the trying to stay on top and find out what's been happening and so on. We have not been trying to hide anything, and we had our third party last week that went in and tested our software and so on. at the plant to make sure that everything was working through the computer system and so on, that there hadn't been any malfunctions and so on, and that came clean report also. So that's where we stand right at the moment, but we're waiting to hear back from Coast Guard and what type of testing they'll do and so on, along with Lands and Forests. So that's where we are right at the moment. So we'll keep you abreast, and hopefully, well, that'll be before the 45 days, and I don't think we'll go the full length of 45 days before we have the open house, and we'll have some more information then. But if you wish to make a presentation to council at our committee of the whole, please just send in a request to the office, and they'll can schedule you in. We are booked for November already. There's no room on the November, and as I stated, we don't have a committee of the whole in December. So it looks like January that we get you in. I know it's down the road, but those are the options right at this moment in time. Okay. Yes, I'm sorry. Go ahead, Councillor.
Sorry, through you to our CAO. Have we had the third-party analysis of the sewage treatment plant? I just wanted to confirm.
We had ABL engineers on site last week, and they undertook an analysis of not just the software, but of the mechanical workings as well, and I'll receive a written assessment from them.
Thank you.
$8.7. What I hit. 8.7 CAO report. You have that in your package. I don't know if you wish to make any comment or have any comment from councillors. Deputy Warden, go ahead.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chair. I'd like to personally thank the CAO for providing this report. It's very extensive, and I do have to say, kudos to you. This is something that council has been looking for a long time, and if I have any questions in regards to your report, I'll certainly ask you at a later date, because I'm going to be very honest, I did not get through it all. I was surprised at how long it was.
Councillor Durkee.
Yes, I couldn't agree more with Deputy Warden Cunningham. I really appreciate all the information that goes into our Chief Administrator's report. I'm assuming that's going online for everybody to, is that available for residents to see that report? Thank you very much. And the fact that your directors have also all made a report as well makes everything that they're working on very clear. So thank you.
Okay. I see we have an 8.8, but I guess that's just a Public Works building again. I think that was a misprint. Duplication?
Yep, same thing.
Ooh.
Nothing new.
So can I ask this? I've been here for a long time. Is that the first mistake you've made when you've duplicated? I don't ever remember. I don't ever remember seeing duplicates on the agenda. 8.9, Remembrance Day services and laying of the wreaths. 8.9.1 is the Mariner Center on November 11th. Is there anybody that wishes? Oh, I'm sorry, Councillor. Go ahead, Councillor Christian.
If nobody else wants to, I'll go to the Mariner Center for November 11th.
Okay. Carlton Legion. Deputy Warden.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chair. It should be noted that the Carlton Legion is no longer operating. It's only the Carlton Cenotaph, and I'll be attending that one. Also, our recording secretary also sent me an email in regards to the Kent Baptist Church. I'm not exactly sure when that is. I have Mr. Randall's phone number, and as soon as I find out when it is, provided it's not conflicting with the Carlton one, which I've committed to since I've been a councillor there, I'll certainly let you know, and I'll let the other councillors know as well. I do believe that it's also November the 11th, but I'll double check with Mr. Randall.
Port Maitland School. Okay. I see. Go ahead, Councillor Cunningham. You had your.
What I can say is I normally do the Maple Grove School, but I won't be available on that date. I'm skipping down a little bit, nor the 6th. But what I will do is offer up to on the 11th. John, if you need somebody else, I'd be willing to certainly go out and lay a wreath if there is that conflict in time.
Good night.
So Plymouth School on November 6th. I know I'm gonna be in Halifax on the 6th.
Mr. Chairman, if I could. So November 6th and 7th are the NSFM meetings, so
Yes.
a lot of council won't be around. And if there were staff who had an interest in that and council wasn't available, I'm more than comfortable having staff represent you.
Okay, appreciate that. Okay, so that would be Maple Grove School on November 7th and so on. South Ohio, they don't have they just have South Ohio. Are they gonna be, oh, I'm sorry, go ahead, Counselor.
Yeah, we have one where the monument is there,
Yes.
where the church used to be.
Yes,
And one thing, we used to have the Memorial Club come out, and that's been this band or whatever. And I was trying to get a trumpet player, and I can't find out who that young lady was last year. I'm wondering if Trevor Cunningham would have any contacts, maybe with the schools
Joe would have it, wouldn't
to
he?
get. Yeah, I called him. He said he's got no he's very upset about what happened.
I wouldn't have any knowledge.
Yeah. He's got no contacts with the
Have you,
with the
okay,
kids.
just for curiosity, I wonder if Linda Powers, she was a
Okay.
chaperone
Okay.
for the club for
Okay.
many years. She may know of somebody,
Right.
Gerard.
Okay. Yeah.
But have they chosen a date, or are they doing it?
The 4th. It's going to be the Sunday before, a week before.
So on the 4th?
On the 4th, yes. On the
Looking in, this is terrible. I don't like using this when I'm at meetings, but
So if anybody wants to join us,
at what time?
It's it's at 11 o'clock.
Well, you know, I'll put it in here. Let me just mark it here. November 4th. Okay. Okay, fine. In camp, you said you would do camp if there was a conflicting of times and so on. Okay, thank you. Now, do we order in wreaths, do we? Yeah, all done?
Hold on.
All looked after? Okay, we're moving into, oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead, Deputy.
Is there an ETA when you expect those reads in, or are they already in? All right, thank you very much.
Okay. Reports 9.1, the audit committee. No reports on that. We just had our financials done shortly here just a short while ago. Bylaw and policy, you gave us a full one. Emergency measures, there hasn't been any meeting. No, I'm sorry. Planning committee, you guys haven't had any. Emergency measures, executive committee, we haven't had any. Occupational health and safety, no meeting. We're going to roll through these. Heritage Advisory, you just had a presentation and a request from them. Planning Advisory, no meeting. Yarmouth County Police Advisory, there's been no meeting since the last one. I think there was a report given at our...
Yes, there was, and the next one is February.
Yeah. I know there's always been a conflicting time with myself. I'm usually been away when you folks, or when that meeting has been called, but I would imagine the February meeting, it'll be an interesting meeting as of last Wednesday's cannabis. But go ahead.
It's funny you had mentioned that, because I was also wondering, I was gonna send off an email, I guess, through our CAO, ask the CAO to send one off to give us some kind of report on how the RCMP are making out, if there's any data on arrests and stuff like that in regards to impaired driving using cannabis, and I'm actually quite interested to go to that next meeting.
Yeah, I believe that meeting will be a very interesting one. I'm not, hoping that there's been anything, but any of the meetings that I've had the opportunity to be away at, and cannabis has been part of the discussion and so on. From the municipal side, we're hearing a lot of different things from apartment owners, condominium owners, and so on. From other stores, we've heard about smoking and so on, especially in Halifax, where you're allowed to smoke and not smoke, and so on. And there was quite the cartoon here in the Chronicle Herald a couple of weeks ago, or a week ago, I should say. And there's a lot of concern and so on. And I think the public is justified in their concerns on some of the possibilities and so on of cannabis. Yarmouth Recreation Committee, been any meeting? Hasn't been any. Other Friends of the Light? Oh. Go ahead, Councillor.
I do know they had a recreation committee, but I wasn't able to be there. I was away, so.
Okay. The next one was the Friends of the Light. I know you
Yes,
said, okay.
I'd like to speak
Any-
on that. I think there was a very successful summer for them. There are still some things I'd like to see changed down there, but there's some resistance from some of the committee members to do so, but that's, so be it. I'm just one person. But I just want to reflect. We talked about Gert Sweeney getting that award, Honor Hall of Fame award, for picking up the debris in that area. We also have another lady, Jean, I forget her last name right now, LeBlanc, I think it is. She does the same thing. And I've asked ever since I've been here that we get a friggin' waste receptacle down at the monument, at least at the monument, for them to put that stuff into. And I know Councillor Allen had the same problem with I forget exactly where it was, and I can't see why, again, these little things are taking so long to accomplish. So, but hopefully next summer, I'd like to see that happen, because here we have some volunteers out, they buy the garbage bags, they spend their time doing this stuff, and I think, we should try to help them out somewhere, and I think that would encourage and maybe they do it already, other areas in our municipality do the same darn thing, go out and pick up garbage and whatnot. There's a very valuable service that they provide, especially in the tourist season. So I like to just make sure that we do have some receptacles next summer for those people for their volunteer work.
Okay. Joint Green Energy Committee. Mariner Center Management Board. Western Regional Enterprise Network. I mentioned that I'd been to one of their strategic planning here just this past week, and so on in my my report. Western Counties Regional Library. You had a conference, didn't you? Go ahead.
There was a conference, yes. The Albans conference was held. Unfortunately, I couldn't attend. Well, I did attend briefly, but I was on my way out of the country. But apparently it was very successful from my understanding. And there was a meeting while I was away, and I apologize because I should have let Councillor Cunningham know, but I did not. But there are no issues as far as I know.
Yasta. Any meeting?
Yes.
Go ahead.
I went to the last meeting. It was very informative. There have been some excellent articles that have just come out recently in the news about the percentage increase in travelers on the ferry, the percentage increase to the number of people traveling in Nova Scotia and in Yarmouth County. There's some good documentation to show we've gone from, I believe, 2% to 3% in this area. our numbers are smaller in this area. When they did a breakdown of the numbers across the province, and the 52% go to Halifax and 3% go to Yarmouth or stay in Yarmouth. There was a presentation by Michelle Sarin from Tourism Nova Scotia with a number of other members looking at, you know, what do we do, how to improve that, what are we doing. Neil is amazing at coming up with explaining the experiences, and I think that a big concern is that our area isn't marketed well enough, and it's not from YASTA, it's more from Tourism Nova Scotia that need to do a better job of promoting the area. In addition to that, I just lost my train of thought. Sorry, folks. I have an awful cold right now, so I'm functioning at a low level. What else did we talk about? Yes, we talked about increasing room nights. We talked about possibly looking at the room levy and whether or not that should be changed. It's always a good meeting, and it's very exciting because things have improved drastically in this area and are continuing to do so. One of the things that they mentioned is that people seem to spend more money in the Yarmouth area than in any other area. It was like about $2,500 actually than any of the other areas. So tourism is continuing to grow, and we need to continue promoting it and supporting it. The other discussion was about the ferry, which is probably moving to Bar Harbor. There's pros and cons to that, but the good news is that the Bar Harbor community is supporting their request, and we'll see what happens.
Yep.
But it's all good. The amount that, like, we're talking millions of dollars that the tourism industry is bringing to, and it's growing leaps and bounds.
Yes. Yeah, I'm very pleased. I think YASTA, if the ferry does end up in Bar Harbor, I believe that we'll have a lot more day trippers and so on. From pardon me?
Canada
Guys, that may be, but I believe because Bar Harbor is a big tourist destination for a lot of people just to go spend some time. And if the boat can come over, I don't know what the schedule will be, but you may find they may come over and stay overnight and then go back the next day. You may get a lot more day trippers and so on. Right now on the ferry, you have a lot of people that are coming and they're traveling and so on. Yes, they stay overnight in Yarmouth, then they travel on to another destination. But I think from Bar Harbor, we may have a lot of walk-ons, a lot more walk-ons and so on. So go ahead, Councillor.
I just want to share with everybody that my interest in tourism has been around since I was a very little girl, because my father was involved in getting the Blue Nose started in the 1950s, and that if he heard what was going on now and how much we fight to get this boat, and we're still fighting, and they fought in the 50s and they fought in the 60s, and it just has not changed, and it's always been a huge asset to our community. You know, he was 21 years as chairman of the Tourist Association, and some of these things have not changed at all. We're still in the same boat, except that, not the same boat. But the fact is that now we're talking millions and billions of dollars,
Yes.
and that's the good thing.
Yes, yeah. Anyway, Waste Check, as I stated, there was a meeting this past Monday. I only was able to get to the last part of it and so on, but there was discussion on, I believe, on composting just as I stepped into the meeting. There's also discussion on the single-use plastic bags and so on. And because I have everybody here and have my phone in front of me, the committees that I sat on and so on, and the one that I do set, one of them that I set on is with the regional chairs. Minister of Environment. Through the committee, I signed off on a letter to the minister wanting to know her last comment on the single-use plastic bag. And the previous Minister Ian Rankin had specifically told the committee that I chair that your group goes out and you get consensus of the municipal units across Nova Scotia. And the question was put to the minister at that time, what do you consider consensus? Because at council tables, consensus is 50 plus 1 to pass a motion and so on. That's all it takes, is the majority. His answer to the consensus question was as many as possible and as close to the 50 municipal units as you can get. We went out, we done that. We came back with 49 municipal units supported. And this is her response here last week, was they're not going to do anything on the plastic bags, single-use plastic bags. So we sent a letter asking specifically why they weren't going to do anything on single-use plastic bags. Dear Warden Anthony, thank you for your letter of October 16th. So, wasn't that long ago, was it? 2018, regarding regional chair support for a province-wide plastic bag ban. Now, that was requested by the Minister of Environment for a province-wide plastic bag. Nova Scotia is a leader in recycling and waste diversion, and we will continue to be. I am encouraged that new, innovative uses and new markets for these materials have emerged in the last year. Okay? Retailers are taking new approaches, and many consumers are changing how they shop. That part is true. We will not be moving forward with a bag ban at this time. However, we continue to work with industry, municipalities, and others as recycling stakeholders adjust to the changing global plastic market. We all have a role to play, and I encourage all Nova Scotians to use reusable bags and reduce their use of these materials whenever possible. That part is fine. That Department of Environment, we as regional chairs argued with the Minister Rankin at the time, and he said, you go out and you get consensus. Every one of the regions went out and met with every one of the municipalities, worked diligently, and we got that from 49 municipal units. The one municipal unit that didn't, they are in support, but they couldn't sign on to the single-use plastic bag because they have a MRF, which is a material recycling facility, and they have 30 employees in that MRF. They do recycling for Cape Breton. They do it for a big part of Nova Scotia. So plastic, they had no issues. They had a big enough market and so on. They could move it and use it. So they weren't going to sign on to it. So 49, and then the new minister comes out and says, no, we're not going to do it. That's fine. We'll move forward and go on. But it was like, and we worked on that for over a year. That was their demand from us. We done it, and then they just threw it out. Just, there you go. Nothing. That's just my little rant for the evening. I was very disappointed after chairing that committee and working, and that's where I ended up. Wasn't going to happen. Yarmouth Area Industrial Commission. We had no meeting. Yarmouth Waterfront Development Corp. No meeting. Yarmouth International Airport Corp. I had a discussion earlier today with the CAO. I will be sending a request off to the chair of the Airport Corporation. I have some serious concerns and so on that the interim manager is all done the end of November, and we have not, and have not at this time, anything in place to replace. It's not a full-time job or anything of that nature, but we don't have anything in place. So I'm going to be requesting that within the next, they won't happen this week, and it won't happen the second week of November. But by the third week of November, I hope there's a meeting call so that the committee can move forward on something. Because we have 3 citizen reps that are very concerned on the go forward with the airport. But that's just that wasn't a meeting, that was just my discussion with the CAO this afternoon. And Signs Committee, you gave that report, right? So there was no in-camera recommendations. Oh, yes, there is. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Councillor.
So there's a motion, whereas council passed a motion on June 27, 2018 to provide funding for the Phase 1 Ferry Terminal redevelopment project contingent upon an agreement on governance to be determined prior to signing any contracts, and whereas council has determined that the governance of such funding should be carried out through the negotiation of a funding agreement with the town of Yarmouth, council hereby directs, or I move that council hereby directs the CAO to commence negotiation of a funding agreement with the town of Yarmouth to govern the use of the funding to be contributed by the municipality of the District of Yarmouth for the ferry terminal redevelopment project.
Okay. Been moved by Councillor Trevor Cunningham, seconded by Councillor Lauren Cushion. Was there any further discussion on the motion? Everybody's happy? You ready for the question? Question. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Contrary minded? Okay. You want that recorded? Councillor Durkee. Was there any further business of council? Was there any events or anything happening in your areas that you wish to? No, walking the dog don't count, Lauren. Go ahead, Deputy Warden.
The community of Carlton is having a trunk or treat event this year. From my understanding, there's about 40 cars so far. Wow. So on Halloween night, if you're heading out in the Carlton area, there's going to be a whole bunch of cars.
Where at?
At the store and also at the fire hall.
Which store is that?
I'm not saying. But it is a community event put forward by community members. The thought was out our way that where kids don't trick or treat so much door to door like they used to, the older folks out there really enjoyed seeing the kids. So
Yeah.
the
something,
event has
yeah.
grown over the past couple years. It was held at the fire department. Now it's grown into 2 venues.
Yeah.
So
Well,
you'll be able to go
yeah.
around the Carlton Triangle area and
Yeah.
all the candy you can eat.
Yeah. Well, it's becoming more and more of a popular thing to do it that way. It keeps the kids safe.
Bring it.
And it makes it easy for the parents, you know, they can go out in 45 minutes, their kids can get enough for the whole year. No, it's become the best way of moving forward for Halloween. So on.
I also have my own, I do believe there's some prizes going to be given out too for the best decorated trunk. I'm going to go as a dirty politician.
Yeah.
Literally.
Go ahead, Councillor LeBlanc.
I just want to tell the public that South Ohio started their music on Wednesday nights again for the winter and half of the spring. It's every Wednesday nights,
Time?
and it starts 6:30 and it goes till about 9:30. And just bring your instrument and then there's a lunch and
Okay.
you know and
Thank you.
anybody's welcome.
Councillor Cushion?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Warden. I'm glad Councillor LeBlanc brought that up because, again, every Thursday night we have our music night at Pembroke Hall and Community Hall in Pembroke. And it's, and again, starts at 6:30, gets through around 9:30. We have a break at 8 o'clock. But one of the most important things, and some things I really enjoy, is when the seniors arrive, most of them are seniors. I'm probably one of the youngest there. There's a few younger too, but you know, and the greatest joy is to watch them, you know, enjoy each other. They talk to each other. They've met new friends. They just go places together now. It's a really good atmosphere there and very positive, and they're very happy to take part. So that's an ongoing thing every Thursday night.
It's a good way for the public or the community to get together and socialize and so on. That was the way I, as a young person growing up, and Trevor, you well know in your area, you used to go to I'll say the church for socializing and so on. There'd be different things going on in the community, and that was one way of doing it. So to your or to your communities that do that and so on, kudos. I think that's great. It's a way for them to get out and so on. And I know when I was over to the Pembroke, baby, the little place is a hopping and so on. Was there any further business of council? Hearing none, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn. Thank you.